Hi, I'm Dr. Robert Avey. I'm a professor in biology at SUNY Potsdam, and we're standing out here in my willow field. This is a test plot to see if we can grow willow up here in the North Country as a source of biofuels. And biofuels are fuels that we obtain from plants, and we grow them in as a sustainability or a sustainable way, so we can reduce our carbon footprint. And so biofuels are simply ways of getting energy from plants instead of fossil fuels or nuclear energy or any other source that we might get our energy from. And within each plant you have a lot of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And carbon-carbon bonds are very high energy. That's what you put into your gasoline tank when you fuel your car up. Plants have the same thing in them. They're organic matter, so they have lots of carbon-carbon bonds. The trick is biofuels is to get these to break the plant down into a form that we can use. Obviously, we can't cut these things up, drop them into your fuel tank of your car, and run down the road with it. We have to change them into a liquefied form of energy that your car can use. And currently, you've heard of ethanol from corn or ethanol from sugarcane, as Brazil gets a lot of its energy from sugarcane. Well, those corn and sugarcane have a lot of glucose in them, and this willow plant has a lot of glucose in it as well. It doesn't taste very good when you bite into it, but the glucose, it's not in individual glucose units as it is in sugarcane or even in corn. The glucose are hooked together, and they're long chains of glucose molecules, and if we can break those apart, this plant will supply a lot of gasoline for your car. So we're growing these things. There are lots of different forms of biofuels. There's miscanthus, which is a very tall grass. There's switchgrass. We mentioned corn, and soybeans is another one. We can get biodiesel from soybeans. So we're growing willow up here because willow grows up here in the North Country in our cold climate. We need something that can survive the very cold winters. Another good thing about the willow plants is that it's very sustainable. It needs very little input. So when we planted the field, we plowed up, disked up the field, we put some pre-emergent on to keep the weeds down, and we took some sticks about that long, shoved them into the ground, and about that much was showing up. And so we wanted the weeds knocked down so they'd have a chance to grow. And since that time, we've not applied any herbicides. We've never applied any pesticides to the crop. All we've done is to mow the grass down, which we haven't even done this year. So it's very low input energy-wise, and these are up over a couple of meters tall. We have some plants that are up over 3 meters. This is the beginning of their growing season. After next summer's growing season, we'll harvest them, and we'll see which varieties will grow best. We have 16 different varieties in the field, and some are growing quite well. These are growing pretty well. These in front is a different variety. They're not growing nearly as well. So we didn't know when we started which varieties would grow best in our unique climate and which would not. And seed companies do this with corn, soybeans, alfalfa. Each region of the country has its own variety that's been developed to grow in its specialized climate. The other thing we need to worry about are insect pests. Every plant has insect pests, and so some of these have been we have one variety that's decimated by Japanese beetles, but you go to the next plant that's a couple of feet over, nothing's wrong with it. They have some sort of systemic defense against Japanese beetles. So we want to see what kind of insects are out here. And insect populations are not the same year to year, so we're going to grow this is a 10-year study. We're going to see which varieties grow best. We'll harvest them every 3 years, and the beauty of these things, when you cut them back down onto the ground here, we'll cut them within an inch of the ground. The next year they will grow back up, and so every 3 years replant them, which is an advantage over trees. Pine trees, oak trees, you have to replant. They're very quick growing. As they get tall enough, they will shade out. We're growing this on a field that hasn't been used for agricultural purposes for many, many years. And the advantages of willows, they grow on very poor soils. So we grow them on areas that are not being used for corn or soybean or wheat or anything else you'd want to grow. So we call it marginal land. So we're not taking any food out of production to grow biofuels, which is an advantage over the corn or sugarcane or biodiesel. So we're hoping to find out how much energy actually we get out of these things after 3 years of growth. We can do that in the lab, and we can get an estimate of how many acres it would take to supply energy needs, at least regionally. We don't have the goal of replacing all fuel oil. That would be nice, but the northeast part of the United States uses about 80% of all the fuel oil that the country uses, and that's a big chunk. And if we can replace a small part of that, that would be good and make it more sustainable. Thank you very much.